Hey guys, so I'm back with another video. This one is one on my list of many that I need to do this month, but I thought it was of specific kind of importance because I found that with all the videos that are coming up at the moment with highlighting and contouring and all these different other looks that are becoming really popular, they're kind of not aimed at people with pale skin. And those of you who watch my videos and have pale skin, it may be one of the reasons you watch me, because as you know, it is very hard to find specific products that are really great for pale skin. I wish I could go back and find some photos of me when I was younger of some of the awful foundations that I wore that were wrong for my skin, or nude lipsticks that I thought were suitable for my skin tone, or trying to wear a bronzer, or even the wrong blush shade. It is hard to get right sometimes with particularly very pale skin. I really love being pale. I really embrace having pale skin, but I feel like a lot of people out there don't feel the same as me because it is hard to sometimes find the products that you want, especially when it comes down to the basics like foundation, concealer, powder. So today I wanted to create this video for you so I can share all of my, it's quite a lot of products, all of my favorite products which I use for my pale skin, everything from foundations, concealers, down to even eyeshadow shades and neutral products that are really suitable for pale skin. So I really hope you guys with pale skin tone out there will appreciate this video. Even if you don't, you may get something out of it. A lot of these brands that sell the really pale foundation shades cater to a wide range of shades, so if you have been stuck for a particular foundation shade for a while, you may still find this video useful to you. So I'm going to start with the basics, and that is foundation. Now I know that Revlon and L'Oreal and Maybelline and all of these kind of, I guess, generic drugstore brands like to think that they cater for every skin tone, but I don't even consider myself that pale, and the lightest shade in a foundation from any of those kind of brands always looks yellow when I rub it on my skin. If there's one thing I can say to you, and you are on a budget with your makeup, but if there's one product I really suggest you splurging on if you have a particularly pale skin tone, is a really good foundation. High-end or more expensive brands tend to produce a lot more shades in their range than a generic brand which will manufacture a small amount of shades just because it's a lot cheaper for them to do it, and they appeal to, I guess, more of the average consumer. So I'll start off with what has been my holy grail of foundations for the last year or so, and that has been NARS. Now NARS is definitely up there on the more expensive scale of foundation products, but they offer, I think it's over 20 foundation shades, and so you know you can't really go wrong. I've got two foundations here. Now this is the one that I had been using for a long time, which was the Sheer Glow, and I used that in the lightest shade, which was light 1, called Siberia, and this is a beautiful kind of neutral pale shade, and it's really good for a really pale skin tone, and I really love this foundation. And I'm actually going to go back to this foundation because I have been using this new foundation which everyone's talking about, which is the All Day Luminous Weightless foundation from NARS, and I'm using that in light 1 in Siberia. The idea of this foundation is that you only need 1 drop. They say 1 drop, but I personally use about 2 or 3. Anyway, it's a very highly pigmented foundation, but it still feels weightless on your skin. Now, one thing I can say about this foundation is if you have dry skin at all, stay away from it. I have pretty normal skin, but I have a little bit of dry skin around my nose, and I find it really accentuates that. So this product is amazing for when my skin is perfect, or if it's slightly more on the oily side, but if my skin is dry at all, it really picks that up and accentuates it. Other than that, it's an amazing foundation, but either of these two foundations I would really recommend for pale skin. They are more expensive, but NARS have recently dropped their prices in Australia, and the shade is just amazing. They do quite a lot of pale shades for neutral skin tones, more pinky or more yellow, but this is the lightest shade, Siberia, and I've loved it for quite a while now. Some other foundations I recommend. Now, I used to stay away from MAC. I used MAC for a while in NC15, and for those pale ladies out there, you may have found that, like me, I found NC15 to be a little bit too warm for my skin and slightly yellow. But then I discovered NW10, which was a shade lighter, and it was a little bit more on the cooler side. I know it's meant to be warmer, but I don't know, I find it to be a little bit more cooler for me, or more of a neutral kind of pale shade. So I've been using the NW10 in MAC in the Studio Fix Fluid. I do like this foundation. I do find it slightly heavier, more of a heavy feeling on my skin than the NARS Sheer Glow, but I do really like the formulation of this, and I really like the way it makes my skin look. But I do find it heavier, so I don't kind of wear it all the time. I wear it more on like a certain occasion. Another foundation which I do like, which again I recommend for more of a oily or non-dry skin tone, is the Illamasqua Rich Liquid Foundation in 115. I was using this for quite a while. This is a super pale foundation. It's actually probably too pale for me. But this is a really, again, a really full-on, full coverage foundation. So if you do have skin problems, or yeah, you want that more like full-on kind of finish, then Illamasqua do amazing products for pale skin tones. They are more of an alternative brand, so they do kind of aim to please the goths, I guess. So I do love Illamasqua. One more liquid foundation I have for you. Oh, actually no, sorry. Two more. I told you there was a lot of products in this video. Two more liquid foundations I have for you. This one isn't unfortunately expired, but you can see the bottle anyway. This is the MAC Face and Body Foundation in white. Now, this is kind of like a tinted moisturizer, except it's white, and I love this product. From what I've heard, I've spoken about this product before, but I heard that Dita Monteith, when she does like red carpet events, she would apply this to her whole body to give her that really all over even pale skin tone. It is amazing for on your body if you want to look a bit paler. It's also great to mix in with the normal foundation that you have if it happens to be a little bit too dark, but you are for the most part happy with it. So if you just kind of want to alter your foundation a little bit, then MAC do this product. There is also another product by Manic Panic, which is called the Dreamtone foundation. This is more of a foundation, and it is pure white. And back when I was really into like goth, I used this all the time and just went for a fully white kind of appearance. So that is another one. And I also was given this product here, which is was a sample given to me from Illamasqua, which is a skin-based mixer in white. So you can mix this with any of your skin-based foundations. I guess you can mix it with an all foundation, and again it will make your foundation a little bit lighter. So there is a whole multitude of really great products that I recommend. Next I'm going to talk about some powder foundations. I've got a couple here. Now, two that I like are the Manic Panic ones. Now there's one called the Vampire's Veil, and I think almost out of this one. Now this is just a really light pressed powder foundation, and the other one is called Virgin, and this is literally like a pressed white powder. And again, if you're going for a really like kind of goth look, then hang on, the mirror's fallen into that. There you go. And then I've also got the Virgin White Pressed Powder. So these ones are really good for a super pale finish. Manic Panic are awesome for kind of that goth look. I do find the quality not as good as kind of maybe NARS or some of the higher end products, but they are a really good price point. The last one that I have here is just the MAC Studio Fix Powder. Foundation powder. This is seriously like the best pressed foundation powder that I have ever used. I used to use the NC15. Again, I found it too dark for my skin. Now that I discovered NW10, that's what I use. So I use that one there, and something about this product, it's powder, but it almost feels creamy. It gives a really, really good coverage. I don't usually use it as my all-over foundation, but you can, and it's really great for taking out with you for touch-ups. So the NW10 in the Studio Fix for MAC is also a really great product. When it comes to concealers, something I cannot rave enough about, and this is the only concealer I'm going to talk about because it's the only one that needs to be talked about at the moment, and that is the Radiant Creamy Concealer by NARS. Again, I'm a huge die-hard NARS fan. This one is in the lightest shade Chantilly. I have 3 here because 2 of these are empty because I've already gone through 2 and I'm on my 3rd one. The coverage is amazing. It's creamy, it is radiant, just like the description, and it gives a really great coverage. Personally, I don't like to wear too much foundation, but then I like to have a nice strong concealer for under eyes and things like that. And this shade number 1 in Chantilly is perfect for pale skin, and I'm sure if you read anything online about these, that everyone is just raving about them because they are really, really a great concealer. They're a great concealer for all over the face, for problem areas, under eye dark spots, redness, anything like that. I really can't push enough this concealer, and NARS hasn't sponsored me. I just really love this concealer. Something I feel like pale people kind of struggle with is a finishing powder, and for that reason I always go for a translucent powder. Now I have 2 here. I have kind of a cheaper one and a more expensive one. The more expensive one is once again NARS, and this is the translucent crystal light reflecting setting powder, and it is literally that. MAC do another one. Now the only thing is with this one and the MAC one is I find you get such a small amount of product for what you're paying. And that's why I usually stick with the Kryolan transparent powder. You get such a huge amount of product. You get 60 grams of translucent powder for, I can't remember what it is, but it's not a lot. It's like $30 or something, or less than that. And that's what I usually stick with. I just use the smallest dusting of powder, and pale skin people, I mean, translucent powder is usually your best bet. It feels really weightless on the skin. If you're happy with your foundation, then all you need to really do is set it. So why add extra product that could potentially alter the perfect look that you have with your foundation and concealer when you can just go for a translucent powder and lightly set what you're already happy with. So I always recommend translucent powders for pale skin. I'm going to talk about some blush shades now. Look, some people that have pale skin kind of veer away from blush. And all I can say with face products when it comes to, I'm going to be talking about contouring and highlighting and powder, is that for pale skin it's always good to have a light hand with everything. So a little bit of the time when you just slowly build that product up, then you know you don't have, I go for more of a dolly look a lot of the time, but often just being really soft with the products you're using is fine, and you won't find it so heavy. I mean, pale people will know what I mean. When you go and get a bright pink blush and you put it on your skin, it is so much more extreme than putting it on someone with darker skin. But I tend to go for a sheer pink kind of shades for my skin tone. I've got a bunch of them here. So here are a range of colours that I really kind of like for pale skin. We're going to start with the obvious, which is pinks. Pinks are really beautiful, like that dolly kind of pink. It's really lovely on pale skin tones. This one is called, okay, the colour is written off the back, but I'm pretty sure it's called Katie, and this is Illamasqua. Illamasqua make beautiful, really dolly kind of shades for pale skin, so I really like the Illamasqua ones. Some other ones that I like are, I have a heap of NARS ones here. Now, I've got the really dolly pink one here, which is Angelika. Angelika is kind of a hot pink blush shade with a glittery kind of, like lots of glitter in it. NARS is pretty over the top, so it's great for that. Angelika is another one I really like for pale skin. And some more on the peachy side. I find that peachy pinks are really beautiful for pale skin as well if you're not into like pink. So some ones I really like, NARS again. NARS I love specific products of theirs. Their powder, their blushes are really great, and their foundations are really great. This is called Super Orgasm. Now this is kind of universal shade for any skin tone, and it suits everything from really pale skin to a darker skin tone. And this is a kind of peachy pink shade with a really strong gold glitter running through it. I don't know if you can see that, but I use that on my skin tone, and I find it's not too overpowering and it looks really nice. Another one I have is the blush duo in Deepthroat and Amour. These are slightly more neutral tones, and again that kind of peachy colour I really like. I'm not a big person on bronzer, but you can wear bronzer with pale skin without your skin looking dirty. I tend to go something again with more of a gold, pearly, peachy kind of shade to it. Something I like, which is a drugstore brand, is the Revlon Peach Glow bronzer. And this has a whole range of colours, from like a highlighting colour to a bronzer to some peach shades through that. And that's really cheap. Another thing I like is the MAC Mineralised Skin Finishes. This one is probably discontinued. It's in the shade Redhead. So I think it was designed as a bronzer for paler skin tones. And that is that shade there. So I really, really like those ones. Next I'm going to go on to contouring. Now everyone is talking about contouring right now. I've got into a bit of contouring myself, and it took me a while to find a product that was really suitable for my skin, something that I could use that didn't look like I was rubbing dirt on my skin. And I came up with a few different products. Now my favourite contouring product that I've been using is actually an Australis one, and it's the AC Contour Highlighting and Contouring Palette. Now I'm just going to open this up, and if we look here, this is the kind of shade I would really recommend for a pale skin tone. If you're going to contour your face and you have a pale skin tone, stick away from these orangey, browny shades and go for more of a beigey, taupey shade, because this is more of a realistic shadow than something like this. So this is the colour that I have on at the moment, and that is the shade that I always use to contour my face with. When I'm using this product, this is incredibly pigmented, and I am so happy for this. I can't remember what I paid for it, maybe $15 or $18, or not a lot. But I use the Real Techniques brush, the contour brush, and this is the perfect brush for this product. I mean, it's designed for that. It's kind of a conical shape, and I pick up the smallest amount of product on it, and I really, really buff it into my skin, and I just run it right underneath my cheekbone here. And then sometimes I get an eyeshadow brush and do a little bit along my nose, just through here, and I really make sure I blend it out. But definitely stick with those more cooler kind of tones than the warmer tones when it comes to contouring your skin. Before I was using that product, I was using this Illamasqua Sculpting Powder Duo in Luminous and Heliopolis. And that is the two shades there. Again, really great for pale skin. They're not too full on, they're not too dark. This one was the highlighting shade up the top there, and this was the contouring shade. I was using just like a little narrow brush like this to contour, but I prefer this one here. But also this Illamasqua Sculpting Powder Duo is really great. Last on the face products, I have two highlighting products here. Oh, sorry, I have three. I have three highlighting products here. Okay, so pale people, we understand the average person's highlight is like our normal skin tone. So when it comes to highlighting and you have pale skin tone, you need something that really shows up, you know. It's hard to make something kind of show up as your highlight. Now, I used to really veer away from liquid illuminizers, but right now I've been hooked on this NARS Copacabana illuminator, and it is like a peachy pink kind of shade. I know this sounds like just a big ad for NARS, but I can't talk enough about NARS, and I just love their products. But what I do with this is what I'm wearing right now, and I think a lot of people are scared to use the liquid with a powder. but I pick up the smallest amount of this product, dip it along the side of my cheekbones, and then I really buff it in with a stippling brush and just buff it right into my skin, and I find this gives me the best highlight. Seriously, the liquid illuminizers work really well. So stick away from your bronzy and your warm tones and go for more of a pearly, peachy kind of tone for a highlight. Another one I have here is the NARS Albatross, and this is a kind of goldy white shimmery highlight. As you can see, I really love that one as well. And this I have here is something that you can get from anywhere. It's just a pure white metallic kind of pigment. This is a really extreme highlight, but if you use a tiny bit of like a pigment, a kind of metallic-y white pigment, then it looks really, really cool on pale skin, and the only people that can really pull it off are people with pale skin. So that's another thing you can use. Next I'm going to talk about nude lips. Now personally I find that with having pale skin gives me the opportunity to wear pretty much every lipstick shade. I find pretty much everything suits my skin tone. I obviously change my hair a lot. One thing I always struggled with was finding the perfect nude lipstick that didn't look too warm or didn't make me look washed out. Now when I was younger I used to be obsessed with this lipstick, and I don't recommend wearing this, but it is a Barry M lipstick, and I do love Barry M lipsticks, but it was this one here, and this is really, really freaking pale. And this used to be my idea of what would be a good nude skin tone for me. But with my pale skin, when I wouldn't have much colour on my cheeks and I wore this, I literally looked dead. Like, this is not a good colour I would recommend for pale skin. I would recommend something slightly warmer. I have 3 here that I really like. This one is a lime crime one. It's called Coquette. It is a nude colour, but it is definitely like got a bit of colour to it. It's got a bit of warmth to it, some peachiness to it. I like that one there. Another one I like is this MAC one called Myth. It's a slightly more matte formula. This is a really popular nude lipstick, and I find it's really nice on pale skin tones. It just gives a really nice colour without being too strong and too brown. And I'm not necessarily recommending this colour, but just as a whole, YSL lipsticks are really great for pale skin tones. They make a lot of really nice neutral kind of shades. This is just like a pale pinky kind of shade, which is the Rouge Volupté number 7. But they do a whole bunch of really great nude and beigey kind of colours. The last 2 products I'm going to talk about are neutral eyes. Now, the first one I'm going to show you is the Lime Crime. The Lime Crime Venus palette is a favourite of mine right now, and they feature, it has a lot of beige, pinky tones, and the pearly, like I was talking about. But I would find this universally like a really great palette. I just got this, and I'm really loving all the variety of shades. They're a bit different than what you would see in your standard neutral eyeshadow palette. So that's a favourite of mine right now. And if you want a chance to win one of these, as well as a bunch of other Lime Crime products, I'm doing a giveaway on my Instagram, and the link will be in the description bar below. So if you would like one of these palettes for yourself, then enter my giveaway and you may be lucky enough to win one. And my other favourite is something that I was going to put in my July favourites, which I'm going to film, but instead I'm going to feature it here. Now, this is the best naked palette for pale skin tones. Often I find people talking about what is the best naked palette for me. For pale skin tones, I would recommend Naked 2. This is Naked 2, and I find they do a lot more of the cooler, taupe, beigey kind of tones than the other palettes. The third one is a bit more rosy kind of shades, and the first one is more on the warmer shades, but Naked 2 is really great. So if you're deciding on what naked palette you want and you have pale skin tone, I would recommend this one, and I've been really happy with it. I've been using it for about a month now, and I can't recommend it enough. I hope this video was of some help to you guys. This is all like my favourite products for pale skin. If you want any other you want to ask me about any other kind of products and what I think about them, please feel free to leave a comment below. If you haven't already, please subscribe. I am planning on doing a lot more videos very soon. And thanks again for tuning in, and I'll speak to you guys soon. Bye!